but there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to this tournament than what you're just seeing right here. So Matt, I see Matt McNeil up here. He's the manager of Marker 37. Give it up for Matt. We got Brandon Frederick from Tacklebox in Victoria, Texas. A great supporter of the Legends Tournament. Wherever you're at there, you'll raise your hand. Cliff Webb, the legendary Cliff Webb. He's here. Give it up for Captain Cliff. Jamie Pinter. Is Jamie here? I know he's here. Just tilt your hat, let the audience see you. Andrew Foster is back there running the sound on the mic. One of the co-owners of Real, the sportswear. And Rob Guetta. Where's Rob? I see you, cowboy. Give it up for Rob right here. This team is very integral in helping Chad and coming along Chad. Chad doesn't make all these decisions by himself. He's got a group of well-rounded men that are around him that help him in putting this together. So without any further ado, I want to start by, we're going to start our honoring our Texas Saltwater Legends for Corpus Christi, Texas. And we're going to honor tonight Doug Bird. And as we honor Doug Bird, first of all, I'm going to call up his son, Clark. Where are you at, Clark? Right here. Clark is going to say a few words before we bring Doug up on the stage. Give it up.
Thank you, Bill, and thanks everyone for attending today. Today we honor a man who at 5 years old knew he wanted nothing more than to hunt and fish the rest of his life. Hopefully you've all read the nice article that David Sykes wrote for the Caller-Times last year, which is now posted on the Legend site. And all I will tell you is it's a pretty good history of Dad's life and how we all came to be here with him today. By the time I graduated high school, Dad had built his business to include somewhere in the neighborhood of a dozen boats, all flavors, mind you. I will tell you that the Panther airboat was my personal favorite. We had a cabin in the land cut and later a two-story barge in Roloff's Channel at the mouth of the land cut where he guided trips overnight all year round. Can't tell you how many barns we occupied at A&W Storage, but there were many. He called me at college one day and said he had some news to share. And when I asked what it was, he said, "Son, I sold it all but one boat." And I can't tell you how shocked I was to hear that. Here's a man that spent the better part of my childhood building a very well-known business that employed a handful of full-time guides and a list of repeat customers a mile long. And to go along with that, a stellar reputation. When I asked him why, because he had worked so hard my whole life to build this business, he had one simple answer. And he said, "Because I spend too much time on the phone and I don't get to fish anymore." I remember our phone ringing off the hook at all hours of the day. People would call and they wanted to talk to Dad, the man they read about in the paper, a magazine, or saw on TV. Not me, not Mom, but Dad. That was around 87 or 88, and from there he went back to the one-man operation until he retired in 08. When Chad called me and told me that Dad was going to be chosen as one of the 27 honorees, it really got me to thinking about all those years gone by. So I called him that night, and I started to casually bring up memories of my time growing up out here on the Laguna Madre. And I asked him to recall one of his more memorable clients. He thought about that for a minute, and then told me a story that I had never heard before.
A little boat thief mother.
Yeah. Sorry. When I found out who that customer was, I started a campaign the next day to find that person and see if they remembered the trip. Got a hold of them, and they did, and I want to read you the letter that they wrote today. "Dear Doug, I was heartened to learn that you are being inducted into the Saltwater Legends Hall of Fame because, frankly, no one is more deserving of such an honor than you. Congratulations. I first recognized that you're an intelligent man when I learned you had moved to Texas from Niagara Falls. Swapping Canada's cold and ice for the temperate environs along the Texas Gulf Coast was definitely the smart thing to do. Then I fished with you, and I learned that you've got a lot of common sense, too. That, of course, was back when I was Secretary of State, and you took me, President Bush 41, oil man Perry Bass, and my father-in-law Jack Garrett fishing. On a day when the weather was beautiful and the water was clear and promising, you put us in a perfect spot. Nevertheless, we were challenged by the flurry of activity that surrounds a president. There were more Secret Service buzzing around than there were fish in the water. In the air, a helicopter was buzzing around like a hungry great blue heron. At one point during our trip, you sidled up to next to me and said, "Jim, you're going to have to get these guys to back off or we're never going to catch any fish." Eventually we did just that, and then we just slaughtered them, as you're fond of saying. And I learned something along the way. On Doug Bird's boat, the captain rules. Right. With very best wishes, sincerely, Jim Baker. Now, I don't know about anybody here, but an ordinary fisherman that gets to take a sitting president, a cabinet member, and a couple oil billionaires fishing must have a pretty good reputation to book that trip. So, Dad, congratulations. I'm very proud of you. Chad, I love you and I'm very proud of you, Dad. Go fishing.
We had several people step up for the Bird family, and at this time we're going to play a quick video which will be live on social media, but we want y'all to hear it. It's a message from Roland Martin to the Honorary Captain Doug Bird.
Congratulate you on your induction into the legendary Saltwater Hall of Fame. Now I tell you, you were so deserving. You were the epitome of saltwater fishing. Hey Doug, you remember the time we had Phil Blackmore out there in Baffin Bay and we waited and caught that big 9¼ pound sea trout? What a big deal and a great film that was. Another time we filmed together was there in Corpus Christi Bay, and we caught beautiful redfish. And Bob, you even introduced me to Bob Kemp, the legendary Texas Parks and Wildlife director that did so much with the stocking program with all the Florida bass. So that was a really great deal. But Doug, you're so, oh, by the way, we're about the same age. I'm still fishing tournaments. You're still kicking butt in the local bass club tournament. We're older guys, but hey, we're still getting the job done. We love the sport. We have the enthusiasm. We want to fish each and every day if we can. And so, Doug, congratulations again for a great induction.
At this time, as director of Saltwater Legends Series and on behalf of my board, it is my honor to introduce to each and every one of you the 2017 Corpus Christi legend, Captain Douglas Bird.
Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate it, man. It's an honor.
We also got you a cup so that you can drink out of it.
Oh, you got it, man.
Better than the one I made you.
Yeah.
Hold that for me, Clark, and we're going to get a few pictures. All right. One more of these guys. Congratulations to you, Captain Bird.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you take it over and share a few words. And then whenever you're done, I'll come back up.
Okay. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm so blessed to have so many friends.
Hold the mic closer.
I had so many friends come from all over the United States. Man, it's a blessing and an honor. The first day that I started guiding full time was the last day I worked. I love this sport. When I was a young kid, I told my mother I was going to hunt and fish the rest of my life. I wasn't going to school anymore. She grabbed me by the ear and threw me in the pickup and took me back to school and said, when you finish school, you can do whatever you want to. First of all, I want to thank the Legend Board for nominating me and electing me. It is a real pleasure. Years ago, they were going to have a Hall of Fame at Mansfield, and the Port of Mansfield was going to give them a building, and that kind of fell through. And until Chad got this Legends going, which I think we deserve. The first person I want to thank is my wife, Jean Ann. I know she's around here getting signatures, and if you haven't signed my guest book, I would wish you would, so we can have memories. And I love my wife. We've been married 56 years. She supported me from day one to go guiding. The first morning I guided, she got up and was fixing breakfast for me at 4 in the morning. And I said, babe, you don't need to do that. That was the last morning she got up at 4 o'clock. But she did. She supported me. And my son, I love him. He's been a force behind this, getting these videos and people here. And I just love him. When I started here, nobody came to Corpus Christi to go fishing. They all went to Port Aransas or Rockport. They would not come here. And so I had to do PR. And to make a long story short, David McKee is here, was a biologist. He wrote the first article about me, about my diaries. And this was back in the 70s. And then Bob Brister wrote an article in the Houston Chronicle about us whacking some big trout in August. And the phone never quit ringing from then on. I was booked 300 days a year, and I loved it. Some nights the boat would break down. I'd work all night, take a shower, and go fishing again. And sometimes 2 nights in a row it'd break down. But I loved it, and I was sponsored by some great sponsors, Bass Assassin, Mirror Lures, Mercury, Quantum, Motor Guide. I went to Motor Guide and said, you need to make a saltwater version of your troll motor. The ones you make rust out in a year. And so they called me and said, okay, how many can we sell a year? And I said, oh, maybe 1,000. Well, can we sell 50? I said, oh, yeah. So they started working on it. We took some videos, some pictures for the magazine. They put it in the magazine and the motor wasn't ready. We got calls from all over the world wanting to know where they could buy this saltwater troll motor. And when they called us, said they were going to paint it white and call it Great Shark or Great White, I said, white? Do you know how they rust and rust shows up on white? And they said, no, we're going to paint it white. They did a great job. They sold a lot of troll motors and put me on their pro staff. And of course they owned Quantum at the time, so I had to go with Quantum. But I did not know Baffin Bay. I didn't know how to guide. I didn't have anybody to turn to. I just kind of did it on my own because I wanted to. And this is what it's come to. All my friends here, acquaintances, customers, brothers, sisters, everybody. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I got more to talk, but I can't do it. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Appreciate it.
Again, and don't go too far. We have another presentation.
Okay,
here
thank you.
Okay?
Here, you gotta stay up there.
Oh, okay.
They're giving you some more stuff.
Okay.
You want me to hold that stuff?
Yeah.
Our first honoree of Saltwater Legends has pulled a group of guys together, and he has something that he would like to come up and to present to the honoree.
Here, you want me to help you, Bill?
I may need it.
Hang on a minute. We got to get everybody else up here. Hang on a minute.
Jim?
You'll
coming up?
carry. Yeah. Let me get the mic on them. You want to carry that up?
Sure.
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
Get right over.
Yeah.
Let them give us
Yep.
room to get in.
You got it.
Watch it, Bill. You're hooked up. You hung up.
Trap. Folks, we need to get Paul Eccleston. Paul, are you still here? Come on up here, Paul. Captain Paul Eccleston. Jim Harmon. Jim Harmon, are you still here? Come on up, Paul.
Come on, Jim. Bill.
Paul.
Jim Harmon, come on. I see you hiding back there, Jim. Doris, get him up here. Tell him to shake a leg.
Yeah, shake a leg, Jim.
And Ronnie Banky. Come on up, Ronnie. And Cliff, I saw you here. Come on, Cliff.
Getting all the old
Yeah.
over here.
Cliff, come on up. Anybody see Cliff anywhere? He was here a minute ago.
He took off. Where'd he go?
We got the lights in our eyes again.
Yeah, I know.
Where's Cliff at? Somebody call 911. Cliff.
I saw him going that way a while ago.
Well, he's probably talking to somebody about fishing. Well, in any event, what we did, we all got together and we wanted to give Doug another special treat. Many of you don't know, but Doug was a United States Navy vet. And he served our country honorably back in the day when they didn't care much for veterans. Didn't much care for any veterans. And Doug served his country honorably, and very few of you know that Doug was on a tin can. Do you know what a tin can is? That's a destroyer. That's a ship. They were out there looking for submarines that belonged to the Soviet Union and were ready at a moment's notice to blast them out of the water. Doug served on the USS Hollister, and it was known as DD 788. Can you come up here just a minute and bring this picture? We'd like to show you, Doug, what we got for you. There's your old tin can that you served on.
Yep. That's it.
Folks, this is it right here. And we wanted Doug to have this. And on the back of it, what we did, we all wrote something on the back, Doug.
Yes, I see that.
The following individuals, some were disabled veterans like Captain Doug Bird, U.S. Navy, have shown their love and friendship to him and would like to add their name to it for Doug for his military service to his country and induction into the Saltwater Legends Hall of Fame on March 24, 2017 as the fourth inductee. This was Doug's ship, the USS Hollister DD 788, and it's signed by Captain Bill Shika, Captain Jim Harmon, Captain Paul Eccleston, Captain Cliff Webb, and Captain Ron Banky. Doug, thank you and well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Love you.
This is awesome.
Love y'all. Man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Dan,
Thank you.
one last thing over here. I read this letter a while ago, but here's the official signed letter from former Secretary of State Jim Baker.
Thank you.
Nobody can read that, but there it is. That's pretty special if you're in my book. Why don't you hold that? And so many people want to take your picture with it, so hold it out there, they can see that.
You want me to hold the other one up? We'll hold them both up?
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
I'm right here in the middle.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
This one too. And I don't let a guy get off the stage without giving me a hug.
Oh man,
I appreciate it.
I love it. I thank
Yeah,
you.
you bet.
It was a great honor.
You're well deserving.
We have one more item.
Oh man.
Doug also gets his hat, the USS Hollister, so he can wear it around and know that this ship is still with him.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up one more time for the legendary Captain Doug Bird.
I got it, yeah. Thanks.
Once again, I would like to extend my thank you to each and every one of you that came out and showed him some support here. A very well-deserving individual along our Texas coast fishing.